What's something you've gotten away with as a kid because they're young and don't know what they're doing, when really you knew exactly what you were doing? The first 2 years of elementary school, I had to take the public bus 2 times a week to get to my school. So my mom gave me money for the ticket each morning I needed it. What she didn't know, I never once bought a ticket and kept all the money. 2 times I got caught, but pretended I didn't even know how to buy one, and they let me go because I was so young. A young entrepreneur with an illegal money-making scheme. Nice. When I was in university, I was broke. Every day for first 1.5 years, I took 1 hour-long bus. It was so crowded you could sleep standing up as others would keep you in place. Never in those 1.5 years I bought bus ticket. Half as a protest for the conditions. It was really terrible in the summer. Everyone was literally soaking wet. And half because bus ticket cost me the same as a hot meal at a local diner. Because bus was so crowded, it was physically impossible for person checking tickets to check anyone. I wasn't caught once in those 1.5 years. My parents had weird schedules, so for school, my mom usually packed my lunch in the evening, and my dad would give me lunch money in the morning, not knowing that I already had lunch packed. I continued that scam for a couple of months until I had enough money to buy a Wii, which is when my parents noticed that they've been tricked by a 7-year-old, but of course they didn't think I did it on purpose. The funniest part of this is the thought of a 7-year-old bringing home a brand new Wii and the parents just going, huh? As a parent of a kid almost that age, I'd be fucking proud that he had the discipline and planning to save for something and not waste that money like his peers or even me at that age. I'm sure they were low-key proud of you for saving, but didn't want to encourage the dishonest part. Throughout my whole life, my parents never bought me video games. They gave me a weekly allowance and expected me to use that money for non-essentials. When I was 10, I wanted a PlayStation really badly, but my parents wouldn't buy it for me. I saved all my weekly allowance plus birthday and Christmas money for about 6 months, so I could buy it. When I finally had the money, I gave it to my dad so he could go to the store on the way back from work. I was so excited. He came back that day with not only the PlayStation, but extra games and controllers and even a carrying case so I could bring it to friends' houses. He said he was so proud of how I saved all my money that he thought I deserved a reward for my patience. I remember that almost 20 years later. You sound like a good parent. I did this using the same baby tooth a couple times. I mean, obviously not enough to buy a video game console, but it's kinda on my parents for not noticing how many teeth I was losing and not taking the tooth when they left the money like the tooth fairy is supposed to do. I don't know if this fits because I don't remember it at all, but when I was around 3 or so, my sister, 10 years older, kept getting blamed for eating all the ice cream and would deny it, which made my mom mad. Then one day, my mom rounds the corner into the kitchen, then quickly pulls back to watch little old me drag a chair from the table over to the freezer, grab a spoon from the drawer, open said freezer and dive into the ice cream, finish and put the ice cream back, close the freezer, lick the spoon and put it back into the drawer, and pull the chair back over to the table. It was almost the perfect crime. Oh, I definitely recognize this, except me and my brother were both in on it. We would lift one another up onto the kitchen counter so we could reach the upper cabinet, then shovel hands full of candy in our pockets. Yum. My 2-year-old does this now, but he doesn't hide. He very proudly tells us that he just ate ice cream. The ice cream now lives in another freezer. I threw a water balloon during a birthday party at my friend's dad that I didn't like. Made him spill his drink. I was like 5 or 6. I had an uncle, married in, but they're divorced now, who would tickle us by aggressively shoving his fingers between our ribs. Any reaction at all was considered laughter, and no matter how much we asked him to stop, he insisted we liked it because we laughed. So I started accidentally headbutting him in the face and or kicking him in the balls. I was like 5 or 6, so everyone assured him it was an accident, but I have older brothers. It wasn't an accident. It took more than 3 but less than 10 times for him to stop doing it to me. I was on a trampoline, and my older brother kept pushing me whenever I tried to stand up. He repeatedly did this about 7 times. He pushed me all the way to the springs. I tried to stand up again, and he pushed me off the trampoline. Because of the way he pushed me, I was falling head first, so I reached above my head to protect my head from the impact. I broke my fall with my arm, and I broke my arm with my fall. Compound fracture, bone pierced the skin. It popped back in immediately after stabbing my skin, so I never got to see the bone. He told our parents that I was about to fall off the trampoline, and he tried to catch me, but he accidentally pushed me. And my parents thought he tried his best, but he's just a kid, so at least he tried to catch him. Did your parents find out the truth? I would by now tell them what really happened. Years ago, my sister would booze and throw the bottles out her window. Smart, right? She's moved her room to the basement, and I took her old room. A year or so went by, and my dad finds the bottles and asks my sister if they are hers. My window now, but sis had a history of boozing in the house. She says no, and that they were probably mine, since it's my window. I told my dad it wasn't me and have held this position for 7 or so years, and no one believes me. My sister won't even come clean to anyone but me. Long story short, I will seize the day that we're all together and I can expose her. You should send him letters over the next several years with just a picture of a trampoline. Text him from unknown numbers with the same pictures. Then buy, assemble, and deliver a trampoline to his front yard one night while he's asleep. I stole a ball from a thrift store. I said I thought it was just someone's lost ball since it was obviously not a brand new item in the store. However, I fully understood the concept of a thrift store. One time I found an open package of marbles that was half empty in Walmart when I was a kid. On the way home, my mom looked back at me playing with them and was like, "Where did you get those?" I remember looking around and thinking what a silly question that was. In my sassiest 5-year-old voice, I said, the store? And I got a big loud lecture about stealing. I still kinda think it wasn't that bad since I would have been discarded anyway. I was the victim of this. We were both kids, but I was the older one. I had my head out of the window and my cousin rolled it up, choking me till I was teary. I was livid, but her mom didn't punish or discipline her because she's just a kid. The time my sister smiled at me before running to mom crying. Truth is, I slapped her hard in front of mom after that and said something like, "If I'm getting grounded, I'm at least actually hitting you first." We were like 6 or 7. She's just a kid. She didn't know any better. That's why you discipline her so she will learn. I used to wait until my mom showed up at the babysitter's to pick us up to ask for snacks. She would never give them to me throughout the day, but she wouldn't say no when my mom was standing there. Oh, I definitely think they realized what you were doing. But you got away with it anyway, because you were a tiny manipulative genius. Zipped my sister in a suitcase and sent her down the stairs. Nothing happened and she was a bit traumatized, but no physical injury on my part. Hers too, I guess. Man, that childhood event must have left her with a lot of emotional baggage. We used to ride laundry baskets down the stairs. Ride ship to Africa and leave it on the sidewalk next to the mailbox. Eating the giant chocolate egg my brother got from school the second he went to get my mom to show it. When I was 2, I ate my Easter chocolate bunny and the foil still in it. A young evil mastermind.